Happy Friday the 13th, everyone. Well, two of you gradually filtering in now. So, it's been Friday the 13th. Oh my god, we should probably do we should probably draw iconic horror villains. How about that? Okay, so let's see if you can guess where this is going. I'm not sure what the deal is with doing copyrighted characters, but we're going to go for it. I think Heather is game, so so I'm just going to blame Heather if the powers that be come after me. So let's go with this guy first. I think it's only fair because it's Friday the 13th again. Not so FBI. Not so FBI. I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for joining me. First time for everything, right? I'm like, why is it taking you so long to get here? But I'm very, very glad you are here. How are you doing? Are you a concept artist? Are you looking to get into concept art? And that's a very cool name, I think. It's got quite a complicated pattern of holes on him. We are all cool. I completely agree. I think we're all very cool. But yeah. Well, I'm glad you finally made it to my one. Hopefully you find the stream equally as cool as some of the others. I think everyone here is cool. I would caveat that everyone at Firestorm is cool. Not everyone is cool, but everyone at Firestorm is cool. I think everyone watching the stream is cool. I appreciate you all. Thank you all very much for coming. So, as you can tell, we are all... The theme of today is Friday the 13th, because it is Friday the 13th. And so we are drawing Jason Voorhees. I think is his name, right? It's Jason Voorhees. But I must confess, I've not actually seen Friday the 13th, which is a little bit naughty because I think if any of you have seen my artwork, oh, that's quite important. I think these little holes that we have across the front here might make them a little bit bigger. Yeah, if any of you have seen my my work, I'm almost like I should probably watch more horror movies and play horror games, but I get scared. And also, I think I don't know if this is more of a slasher flick. I'm not sure. I like slasher flicks so much. So I don't know. Anyone who has seen Friday the 13th, please tell me if it is something I should check out. I mean, I would watch it today because it's Friday the 13th. But I don't know. I'm busy. I think I'm still subscribed to Shudder, so I can go see some horror movies. But yeah, okay, I'm bad at sketching. Where to draw yoga poses. Well, yoga poses, I imagine, are fairly hard to draw. I can imagine much easier poses to draw than yoga poses. But generally for concept, you know, you actually don't want people to have crazy poses because it just makes it hard to see all the bits. You know, it makes it hard to understand what you're modeling if all the limbs are crossing and if the silhouette and the, you know, you can't see the parts of the costume, which is what tends to happen when people tie themselves in knots. Okay, so it's got to be a cute. It's got to be a cute Jason Voorhees. So we are going to. I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to. His head has to be really big. Well, 3D art is still art, Mr. Not So FBI. So 3D art is still art, and don't let anyone say any different. I like to do so, even though I'm sketching for you all tonight. I do like to do. What's it? 3D and 2D. I like to combine the two. So, as you can see, I'm really rubbish at keeping it on the page. Because with digital, you can always fix it afterwards. I don't know. Is he in a jumpsuit, guys? That's his thing, isn't it? He walks around in a big jumpsuit. None of these pictures have the bottom part of him. Yes, it does look like he walks around in a big jumpsuit. I also don't think it looks like he's wearing a mask. So why don't you use the artboard? I don't know. I've never thought to. I always turn that off as soon as I can. Yeah, I always turn that off as soon as I can because I need to think about how this is all attached. Because you in some of them you can see his hair sticking out. Oh no, he's bald. Okay, so this is actually a strap that goes around the back of his head. And then we should have a little bit of head sticking out there. That's going to be his jaw. So his body is actually a little bit far forward for how I've drawn him. Let's just shunt that back. Get back, get back, get back. And let's finish off the rest of his jumpsuit. So the problem is he's really dark in all these pictures. So I don't know what the hell is going on here. But he seems to be covered in blood in all of these pictures, which seems on point. So his jumpsuit's got like, I want to bet he's probably wearing these big boots, isn't he? So I'm normally not very good at getting my left and right hands around the right way. Ah, that's a good picture. Yeah, you can see he's got like, it's quite a big sort of collar that goes around him. And then he's got these pockets. There we go. We have found a picture where he's a little bit more lit. And then let's draw his other hand. He also seems to just be standing there in all these pictures. Doesn't do very much. I guess I wouldn't know. Thankfully, I don't meet many movie serial killers. I don't know if it's too slashery. I don't think I'd like it. Okay. Pop in, pop out. No worries. Okay, so going to give him a little bit for the belly. So that helps him look a little bit more chibi-ish. Let's get some. Now, collars surprisingly difficult to draw. So if you'll excuse me while I struggle bus with his collar. Okay. So just need to act out what his hand is going to do. I think it's going to be something like that. And just some cloth folds there. And he seems to be a fan of the machete. God, what a nasty man. What's a nasty man? But as I said, I think it is fate that we draw him today. Oh, well, no, in this one he has an axe. Oh, and in some of them he's got a slightly different pattern on his head. So I guess there is creative license with what we do with his head. Okay. Let's give this a little bit more character. So we want some blood dripping off the blade. I imagine maybe he'd have some maybe pocket on his side. I don't know. Let's just flip him because I think his balance might be a little bit off. Yeah, it just helps you see bits that are wrong. Yeah, okay. It's not so bad. So flipping him, I can see that this is in sort of wrong position. He does look like he's leaning back a bit, which I actually don't mind. Of course, now he's left-handed, so we'll need to flip him back. And then I'm just going to change the way I've drawn this collar. So I told you the collar was irritating me. I'm just going to change the way I'm drawing this collar so that it's meeting up with that center line and just making sure everything is lined up, right? Because we have got to be technically sound with our drawing. That's always key, you know. You can't hide things like that. You know, especially if the drawing's more simple. It's funny. Simplified drawings aren't necessarily easier. Okay. That arm should be a little bit longer. I don't know what he's doing with this hand here. It's just gonna be there. It's gonna be slightly like chibified. So it's gonna be like a sort of small tiny hands there. I guess that's what makes it disturbing, right? So like he's really childlike, and then he's really childlike, but then he's a serial killer. Okay. Let's move that down. I think this foot here needs to be slightly further across to be underneath the center of gravity. Just do a little bit more to his, just do a little bit more to his shoes there. So this pocket here is going to be stretching around the form. It's going to be stretching around the form. And yeah. Let's do a little bit of cleanup. So this is my sort of initial block out pass. So it doesn't matter if I've got the odd scratchy line. The point is I'm working out what to do next. So yeah, because his belly is going up, I feel like that would push that up a little bit. Okay. Cool. Okay. Let's have, well, I don't want to give him any hair because that'd be really difficult to 3D print. But yeah, something like that, guys. I'm sure there's something wrong with the drawing, but I sort of just have to get it good enough that people don't notice, or like people don't go looking for mistakes. Because I reckon if you go looking for mistakes, you tend to find them, even in like pro work. Let's flip him back. Yep, not bad. So I'm just going to drop this arm back, use the body in front to overlap that. Let's have that collar stick out, and that's going to help with the overlap there. That's going to help with the depth. I feel like he needs some bloodstains on him, but I don't quite know. How that would work. Don't quite know how that would work. I really don't. All right. Let me mute my Discord. So I'm fairly sure that is going to be translating through to my stream, and we don't want that. If anyone here has any questions about concept art, anything they want to know, don't be shy, pipe up, drop me a message. So if you don't know, I've been in the concept art industry for, God, 10 years now. 11 years, more or less. And prior to that, I worked as a VFX. I worked as a 3D generalist in VFX. So, 2 decades in the film industry. Yeah, very surreal. Some days it feels like it didn't happen. Yeah. Okay. Oh God, what's going on with his foot here? Yeah, something about this foot feels a little bit janky. So let's fix that. Oh. So I think this hand is going the wrong way. So I think this cylinder needs to be sort of pointed this way. There we go. That's better, isn't it? That's way better. Okay. Let's add some zigzag folds there. Okay. And now let's just do a little cleaning uppy line pass, shall we? Okay. So we kind of don't need our reference anymore. Just turn that down and use that as a guide. I don't know. So I'll try and find a brush here that's a little bit more aggressive. I feel like I should be using things like Clip Studio Pro for this, but I've never quite gotten around to never ever quite gotten around to using it. I'm trying it out. So let's go in there, beginning to just outline various parts of this sketcher. So I'm thinking about line weight. You know, I don't want to be, I don't want to use thick lines for the unimportant information, basically. So things like this detail here, I just want to make sure I don't go too heavy on that. God, it's quite hard to place on that side. wonder if I should give him big or small pupils. Maybe it doesn't even matter. Because he's wearing a mask, also I can't make him look angry. So his expression has ended up quite benign. But then, I don't think that matters too much. You like see the machete and you sort of get the idea right. So I wonder if I have to give the stream a rating because it's got machete in it. Okay. See, there's no need to get it perfect. Kind of being quite rough and loose with this. You know, some people do very, very rough drawings. And it's okay. Maybe some buttons there, and they're going to be stretched in between them. Should maybe get some references for the folds in the sleeve, but again, we're just moving quickly. Can move on to another sketch very, very shortly. You know, sometimes it's nice to leave like a little bit of energy in your strokes, even if it's like imperfect. It's not a bad lesson just to sort of move on and stop fussing over it. Might not seem like a big deal, but I often see, you know, I say to something that really holds students back, you know, the ability not to just move on, you know, be like, screw it and just keep going. You know, and it's an important skill to develop because I think, you know, I think people just draw less, right? Because of perfectionism, right? They just stop drawing. And of course, to get better at drawing, you need to draw a lot. So if you're, you know, continually sort of stuck because you're waiting for that perfect moment to start, well, you're just going to draw less. You're going to practice less. And you're not going to be as good, right? So it's quite damaging in that regard. But also, like, sometimes in professional work, you know, you don't always have the time or luxury of just waiting until something is perfect. You know, in fact, you kind of have to get used to handing off stuff when it's, you know, actually, you might think it's kind of rubbish. But, you know, sometimes you get a nice surprise and people love it anyway, but yeah. Hey, Pat. How are you? I've not managed to catch you online this week. I need to do that next week. I think I'm free on Monday. I think I don't have a meeting, so I can come visit. I can visit your stream. Everyone, subscribe to Pat's channel. Everyone subscribe to BR3D or Bread. Everyone subscribe to Bread. Oh, okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's quite tiring, isn't it? Okay. Well, you can subscribe anyway so that you are all ready and prepared when Pat returns. Right? There you go. Rescued it. Is that because you're working? Because that's kind of a good thing, isn't it? Or you're just taking a break? we're at that kind of time of the year where you like, you start all full of beans, right? You start like, yeah, I'm gonna do loads of work and it's gonna be the best year ever. And then it's like, yeah, by this time of year I'm like over it already. I'm like, ugh, well, I could do with a break now. No, I completely understand. Yeah. I think this is a little bit too round. Normally I'm so much just like exaggerate the form, but I think that is a little bit too round. So I'm just going to still put it in there, but with less of an aggressive curvature. Here's, do you recognise him? Do you recognise him? He's an 80s slasher villain. Yeah. Kind of had to because of the day, There was no choice. But then I'm like, always like... I mean, I guess we're just doing fan art, aren't we? Whenever I see the word fan art written down, I just think it looks really close to fart. So I just think it's a terrible word. But I mean, that's kind of what we're doing here, isn't it? Bit of fart. Yeah, I think it's just because I see fart everywhere. I see farts on all sides. Can't help it. Okay. God, we're nearly a quarter of the way through the year. That seems berserk to me. I feel like I should have gotten more done. Hope you guys are having a good year so far. Hope all your dreams are coming true. All that jazz. So I think we are nearly done. Sorry, I don't know why I'm making that edge of the machete so wibbly. Probably just because I can't control my hand properly. It's just boosting the line weight where I think we'll do. Exactly. Yes, well saved, Pat. That exactly. That's what I intended to do. Just adding little bits of line weight where I think will help, but reality now it's all just like little things there. Okay. Let's give him let's fill him in. Want to see if this will work. Where has it gone? Where have you gone? Let's use this object selection tool. See if it works. I think it should work. He's fairly simple. But then again, sometimes it really just doesn't feel like working. That's not bad. That's not bad, I don't think. Right. Let's fill him in. Yeah, that's not a bad selection at all, actually. Just gonna get rid of that bit. Looks like he's got a little beard. And yeah, there are just some bits on here that we want white. So I reckon his cheeks here need a bit of light. Dull. Just hate it when your hand slips. We need a harder edged eraser, ideally. And then for the highlight, we need to actually go on top of the line art. So just with a dab of white on the pupil there. Okay, there we go. I think I'll also make his overall a different colour. So let's put a dark in as well. Maybe too dark. Don't want to hide the line work quite so much. Just need to really delineate the difference in material. So, you know, that's a fairly good balance. Actually, now we're adding value, we could probably add the bloodstain, right? But the problem is you just sort of start getting into it, and I'm like, oh, well, why don't I just render the whole thing? You know, but I'm not gonna. So there's his overall, and I think we need another value on top. So maybe something for the leather and something for the blood. So I want his shoes to be a little bit darker. And then there we go. Maybe let's darken these off as well. Oh god, and go on. Let's do these straps here as well. See. Yeah, God, and then just as you go on, it just becomes more and more complicated. So yeah, we have a little sketch of Mr. Voorhees. I don't know. Maybe I should have just left it this sort of sketch phase, but there we go. Yeah. Let's sketch some more. I might not take them as far as him. We just have to because it's Friday the 13th. But yeah, I guess we could try drawing something else. And I will fire this off to Heather because I think she likes horror characters. Okay. So we can park him over there. He is on the naughty step. And I don't know, who should we do now? I'm open to suggestions. I don't know if he like looks different in different incarnations. Oh, there's one with his mask off. That's interesting. Oh, and of course there's Freddy versus Jason. I mean, what we could do is we could do him in a different style. I feel like that could be fun. So I can show you how we could approach the proportions and come up with something that has a completely different vibe. So that might be fun. I think it'll be fun. I like doing sort of stuff like that. I like changing things up and seeing where they lead me. So for him, we've gone very childlike. Obviously, we've gone for this sort of weird, cute kind of thing. So very chibi proportions. Basically, it's when you take an adult and you give them child proportions, you know, including like a little pudgy belly, and of course a huge head compared to their body. It makes them look very babyish. But this time, I'm not going to make him look small. I'm going to try something different and make him look huge, because it actually is. Yeah, he's pretty huge. So we'll go for, I don't know, it's probably still going to be quite cartoony, but like a completely different sort of proportions and vibe to it. So, of course, still starting with that hockey mask. We're still going to map out the center line and use that to, you know, just lay out some of those features. But whereas here we went for, you know, a really big head and really big head, small body. Here we're going to like be playing up the sort of largeness of him. So I'm going to go with a really huge body. I'm going to change up his costume as well. And this one's funny because I think here he's like wearing like sort of belt and trousers, I think. So let's go with something like that. Yeah, I don't really have a specific plan about what I'm going to do. I think when people are thumbnailing characters out like this, they just sort of respond to, you know, what's in front of them. You know, it's not, you don't necessarily always have a plan. You know, just try things out. See what happens. See what happens. See if it yields kind of, if that experiment, if that initial idea gives you a nice result, and then you go from there. So I'm going for maybe this version. Oh, this version's got hair. This version's got hair. As you can see, he's wearing a belt and a jacket. So we're going to go with that. That is what I have on the opposite screen. So I think I'm going to go wider in the shoulders. Again, I want to make him look really hulking. Probably a little bit fat as well. It's always good. And yeah, just this really big inverted triangle. Okay. Right. Okay. And then he had that massive jacket, didn't he? I'm not sure. I feel like the jumpsuit is the most classic. Is the most classic version, but you know, I mean, he's been in like God. So in 1986, they were already on number 6. So there must be like 16 of these movies. Oh God, I think there's even one out this year. So, you know, they need to change some things up. They can't leave him, you know, they can't have him just be the same in every iteration. So I'm going to give him like that big fat coat. I feel like what that does, though, yeah, he needs to have like sort of a lot of mass up here. It needs to look like kind of hoodie. And then I'm gonna give him some hair, but I'm gonna like give him like some sort of like spiky anime hair. Like the one I'm looking at, he's got, you know, sort of balding middle-aged man hair, which is a vibe. But well, you can sculpt him. Totally, you can sculpt him. I don't know what do you know what the deal is with copyrighted characters, though, Brad? Bread. Sorry, I just keep calling you Brad. Doesn't help that I actually know someone called Brad as well. But yeah, do you know what the deal is with sculpt? I mean, because you sculpted Godzilla and stuff like that for the stream, right? So do you know what the deal is? I guess they can't stop. I guess they can't stop us. We're just fan arting. We're paying tribute, right? It's Creative Commons license. It's only if we try and put them in a t-shirt or something. I think Heather would totally be down for you doing a movie villains. Yeah, I think Heather would totally be down for you to do a movie villains series if you wanted to. But yeah, God, can you come up with one movie villain for each letter? I think you'd have to like take liberties with some. But yeah, I reckon. Yeah. I mean, if you want to sculpt it, just let me know. I'll just like email it over to you. I feel like this guy, he's got such an open area on the front of his chest there. I can just send you this PSD because this also has all of this stuff in it. If you're like wanting any creatures to sculpt as well, like there you go. Yeah. I mean, these are a bit less fun, but yeah. Let me know. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've ended up with so many since doing this stream, right? We want to be diverting funds away from ChatGPT. This is the thing, right? There's so much art like flying around already. Like, let's not subsidize big tech. Thank you. You know, let's keep art human. Hashtag fuck AI. Oh dear. Hopefully I've not alienated anyone. But yeah. Oh look, the live counters dropped. Maybe we had some like AI bros in the stream. So I think because he's big, I think it's almost like a little proportion gag to make the axe like kind of tiny. So he's gonna have a tiny axe. Would he hold it the other way? I think other way's better. I don't know. Placing it upwards just looks very like. Oh, I'm just going to put the axe right side up so as not to blunt it. There's something sort of a little bit considerate about posing it that way, and he's not a considerate type of guy. I need to watch these films, to be honest. I mean, God, there are like 17 of them. I've got a lot of catching up to do. It's a lot of fun, though. I mean, we could sit here until I've done like one iteration for each film in the saga of Jason Voorhees. I mean, God, that's so annoying, isn't it? Can you imagine your arch enemy never dying? You know? Like, that would suck. It's majorly suck. I don't know, to be honest, I'm not... I mean, I get the impression Friday the 13th is more of like a slasher flick. And I'm not a massive fan of slasher flicks. I was talking to another horror artist, and you know, we all have very specific ideas. I think of what we think like horror should be. That's true pretty much of every like horror artist I've talked to. You know, what I'm trying to do with my horror art is very different to what other people are trying to accomplish with theirs. You know, it's really interesting. You know, some people are trying to be like more subtle, and you know, some are trying to disturb. You know, some are trying to shock. It's way more complicated than I'm sort of making out there. And the stains are kind of hard to draw. Stains are really hard to draw. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm just going to put off. I'm going to put off drawing the stain for later. Let's deal with the small matter of his mask, which I think is the most crucial part of the whole shebang. And his mask does change subtly from iteration to iteration, right? So I wonder if it's a very fun thing to redesign, actually. I mean, it must be fun to work on like such an iconic villain, but then you really haven't got that much leeway, have you, to change things up and put your own spin on it. So, you know, is it the most creatively fulfilling? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think I'm getting a little bit too bogged down in what these holes on top of his head are doing. It's a little bit silly. Bow, 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 bow. Happy Friday the 13th to everyone who's just joined us. Hopefully you are seeing a theme. A theme developing here. Oh, that's nice. So in this one, yeah, the jacket is like really manky, and he's got this tear here. So that's kind of cool. Oh, that's interesting. It's so funny. I'm not used to seeing with the lower body. Oh, God. Yeah, some of the subtle redesigns are really kind of interesting. And that's a bit of a hot take on it, isn't it? Well, let's keep going. I've committed now. I now know, you know, there are some things I can do to make that. Let me just embed that tab again. Is it going to work? No, Windows, why do you hate me so? Okay, well. So I'm going to tear that shirt. I'm going to give that shirt a tear. think I'll probably need to add a few more of those to the centre of his body. Slightly more developed hand. There we go. I think I'm going to do a little bit more work to make that coat feel like ragged and bulky. I guess it's a little bit more realistic than the one we got on the side. So, you know, maybe we'll add some patches. Something to give it just a little bit more life. Give Pat a little something to get his teeth into. I actually don't know how the front of this coat would work. It's something lots of people say. You've got to learn how garments work. And as you can see, I'm skirting around how this flipping collar merges into his body there. I'm going to add a little bit of a slash here as well, so he can just be covered in like these gashes there. Yeah. I don't think I'll take this one to as much of a finish as the other one. I think that body is slightly out of perspective. And yeah, he does need to be right-handed, so he needs to be flipped onto the other side. So I'll do shortly. Okay. Just to make sure I'm painting in black. Yeah, so I went a bit too happy with the perspective there. Oh god, it's looking a little bit strange around his trousers there. Maybe a little bit tight. Oh dear. Yeah. Of course, it's easy to get into the trap of like just refining all these little details here. Hopefully it's not too boring for you all. I don't even know that's how belt buckle works, but let's go with it. Bit of tape for grip around the axe. Bit of blood. Then I just want these sleeves to feel like they're made of some sort of puffy, fluffy material. So I think in the references we were looking at, he's wearing this sort of big puffy kind of overcoat. So I just want a little bit of a sense of that. I'm not going to do too much on it because it is still just a quick sketch. But I think that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Now, that'd be a decent base, you know, if I want to take it further. Just go in, add in detail iteratively. But that's kind of it, you know, working out the main proportions, main gestures, just kind of a general vibe of the character. And there you go. Yeah. Like the shoes are underdeveloped as well, but like I feel like Pat would work that out. I believe in you. So there you are. You've got another flavour to choose from. Just going to dump him in this group because it's getting crowded now. It's getting crowded now. We've got Jasons from several movies here, all competing for your attention. So let's shove those in the corner. Okay. Actually, I meant to flip him round, didn't I? So this sometimes happens when you flip something round, it looks awful and it makes you depressed and makes you feel like you can't draw. So that's probably going to happen here. So he does need to be right-handed, doesn't he? So let's flip that. Let's flip that canvas and see what happens. Oh, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. I think it's just that collar. Okay. I think I might leave that. No, I can't leave that. No, I can't leave it. Okay. So let me just get rid of that group again. Okay. Cool. So I'll just show you how I'm going to correct that. Image transform. Flip horizontal. Hopefully you are all flipping your canvases. Okay. So just as a quick sort of diagnostic, his belly's not poking out enough. Face has a slight bit of distortion on this side, doesn't feel even, and that hand and that collar feels weird. So I need to fix that before we go on to do another Jason. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break there because my voice is starting to go after a week of yakking at students. So hang around and we'll be, back with more Jasons, probably for the whole hour. I don't know, let me know. I was thinking about doing some 3D ZBrush stuff as well, but again, if you're all happy to stick with Mr. Jason, that's absolutely fine. We'll just continue with that. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned. Okay, right. So Jason numero dos. Okay. So as I said, his belly is wrong. His trousers are a bit tight. So let's make sure that drapery is running correctly. Okay. I think all we have to do is, yeah, that's not bad actually. I just have to make sure that that's going that way. And as we get up here, I just need to make sure that this part here looks like it's looping over his shoulder. That's not perfect. I think it's definitely better than it was. Let's just bring out a little bit of shoulder. Drop our hand down. I think that's mostly okay. I've got to see sometimes one of the things you can do, and I think this would work here. But I feel like I've just sort of drawn him slightly skewed. So the best way to unskew him is just to, just whack a quick like perspective warp on him. You see I can straighten him out like so. And then I just need to sort that out. There we go. Okay, so yeah, now I think we can move on to another Jason. Friday the 13th sequel 28 or whatever we're up to now. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to repeat that step again. I'm going to duplicate the group so we can preserve our Jasons at full scale, but also shove them in the corner so they're not taking up the whole screen. So there we are. In the corner, Jason 1 and 2. There we go. Okay, so another Jason, another Friday the 13th villain. I mean, honestly, the one where I could see his legs kind of makes me want to do like a realistic version of him. Oh god, there's a really futuristic version of him as well. Okay, there's a version of him with a harpoon as well. Okay. That might be interesting. Yeah, that might be interesting. There's this version of him where he's got Okay. Let's try that. So I'm going to start with kind of realistic proportions. Yeah, but then I think I'm probably gonna change it up some way. So there's this version of him that I'm looking at where he's got like a really thick coat. It's sometimes like, though, you know, when you know, if you take out too much of a Jason, is it still Jason? I can't believe there's not been a version of him like a big trench coat. That seems like such like an obvious thing, but I guess it's very like I Know What You Did Last Summer, trench coat villain, and you got Scream as well with the character in that sort of cloak, right? I don't know why he's got a halberd. Needs to be a harpoon. What's a harpoon look like again? Okay, it's got a barb on the end as well. Yeah. It's getting a little bit oversized. He's wearing a really weird jacket in this reference. It's almost like a sort of leather shirt. Okay. So... gotta use some pockets. I feel like because he's got a harpoon, he used to be in like a fisherman's jacket or a fisherman's coat. Even if that's more like Freddy Krueger. Yeah, let's take liberties with the myth of Jason. Because it kind of looks like he's wearing one up here, to be honest. And all that would mean is that, you know, we just extend that down. And it like comes around his legs like so, right? There must be one already where he's dressed like that. You know. He to decide what the hell I'm doing with his feet. Honestly, one of the hardest parts. You know, like everyone who's always put off doing feet. But then, like, if you do anything like this professionally, like, you can't just, like, not give your characters hands or feet. People start to notice. Like, why aren't you drawing feet? Why are your characters like? Why don't they have any limbs? Right? Why don't they have any? How are they going to grip things? You know, people expect your characters and drawings to be able to manipulate tools with their opposable thumbs and shit, and you know. Anyway, sorry. It's that time of the day when I cease to make much sense. Okay. Hey man. Oh, you're talking to us off YouTube. I'm very good, thank you. And how are you, sir? Do we have a Friday the 13th fan here? I think you get some where the nose on it's a little bit more subtle. So let's explore that idea. It's kind of like that. It's got a hole underneath your nose. And I don't like that. I feel like it's kind of... I feel like it's not really the Jason mask. I mean, it's kind of hard to draw because you know you can't really get stuck in. But yeah, I feel like giving him the sort of classic nose, but I've given all the other ones. I feel like that works better. And yeah, there we go. Let's add some of the holes around the side. There's something about this one I don't think looks very scary. Don't exactly know what it is, but this is the thing with these quick sketches. You know, you try some things and some things don't work, you know, and you just have to, you know, try something else, or just like have a quick think about why, maybe, you know, see if there's anything you can do to salvage it. But otherwise, yeah, just move on, you know, get on with your life. Didn't realize when I started on this I'd be forced to like draw drapery so much. Okay. Well, I think we're basically coming to the end of this sort of sketching portion. So there we are. We have a Jason who's a little bit more realistically proportioned. A little bit less of the sort of creepy cute thing going on. Yeah, maybe I'd start a sketch for a film concept in that way. Not sure really. It's to get a bit more indication of that drapery in there. Remember, kids, practice your drapery, please. So let's have a more of an indication of those folds at the back. I feel like this coat would have other pockets down there. And this hand needs to be a bit less rubbish, so we can spend a bit of time on that. Of course, it's very easy to just ignore the hand, but I'm just going to block it in there. How it's wrapping around, and yeah, we don't have to do too much more. It's only really if I'd go to a clean line pass, or I wanted to keep going, that I would clean that up. Okay. I feel like I just want to give him wild hair. But in all of these, he's got very normal hair. Or none at all. I think underneath his mask, he's all like burnt and mangled, isn't he? I think that's the thing. Is it not? And I don't know. I'm really surprisingly unfamiliar with the lore. With the lore of Friday the 13th. Boom, 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 boom. Just a little bit of shading. Not very good shading. I should probably stop before I go overboard. But yeah, just a little bit to, you know, indicate some darks, you know, just separate out certain forms. As I think I don't want to like overstate that nosy bit. Of course, if we're dropping dark accents everywhere, let's drop some inside his eyes. You know, let's have some like hollow eye holes there. Okay. I don't know. I feel like that's well. No, he looks pretty friendly. I don't know. I feel like the proportions of that head there, for the shape of that mask, doesn't work quite so well. But again, when you're in industry, it's not really your decision. You know, it's your job to put just different versions in front and see what sticks, see what people like. You know, it's not really your choice. You know, sometimes, well, I say sometimes, like often, you know, you put just a variation in there to sort of pad out the submission. And the client absolutely loves it. They're like, yeah, I like that one. Amazing. And you're like, what? What is happening? But you know, it's the client's money. They get to choose. So, yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to dump him in the invisible group. Then, and also put him in this group. And I'm going to shrink him down and put him there. So we've got half an hour left. To be honest, I'm not sure how inspired I am to keep going with Mr. Friday the 13th. I feel like we've covered a lot of bases here. So what I might do, just to vary things up, is yeah, I'm going to work on a piece that I started. I started a while ago, but I started painting it yesterday on my stream, on my personal stream, which is this guy. And yeah, I started the paint over for this yesterday. It's going well. I'm about 3 hours in, maybe 3.5. And oh no, that's all right. That's all right. People have lives, man. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, if you turn up another time, I'd love to have you. So yeah, the reason I kind of want to work on this a little bit more is because there are certain things going on here visually that I quite like, and I want to extend it to a series of pieces like this. You know, I think it could be kind of cool. So I want to get some more pieces done, like with the same sort of theme and the same sort of look. But to do that, I really ought to be disciplined and get this out of the way first. And that's the hard bit. I've got so many sculpts that need to be rendered out, painted over, and made into finished works of art. But I've not been keeping up. I've not been keeping up recently. So hopefully you won't mind watching along as I develop this painting. I mean, I've actually had this artwork open in a few sessions now, and people don't seem to mind it. So let's just continue. Ultimately, guys, I'm just going to do what you want me to do. So, you know, if you want to watch me sketch more, you know, do say. If you want to watch me do pieces like this more often, I can do that as well. You know, I will do all sorts of things, but, well, not all sorts of things, but yeah, you know, I'm open to suggestions all the time. It's just, you know, most times I don't get any, so I don't know what to do. So if any of you have any preferences about what you want to see from me, let me know, because, you know, I can do all sorts of things. I like to think I'm pretty well versed in sort of 2D and 3D. So yeah, it's really up to you what you want to see. Just let me know. I do love me a little bit of sculpting in ZBrush as well, gotta say. All the stuff that Heather does, where it gets a little bit more involved and you're modeling for production, that is a little bit where I lose interest. It's that's a little bit where you lose me. To be honest, if I was interested in that sort of stuff, it would help me. Like I could, you know, I could do a little bit of modeling on the side, maybe, but no, unfortunately, yeah, I don't know. Of course, everyone needs to eat, right? So if push came to shove, maybe I would learn that and change what I'm doing. But right now, I do kind of just like making pieces like this and not having to worry really about how it's going to affect anyone else in the production pipeline, right? That's pretty essential when you're in industry, thinking about how you're going to work with everyone. Oh dear. For ended up with a very sort of backloaded week. So Thursdays and Fridays are now pretty busy for me, which is, it feels like just as I'm meant to be winding down for the weekend and like thinking about going clubbing or something like that, I've actually got to lock in. But hey, it's all good. I always reckon it's better to have too much to do than not enough. But I don't know. Things get like this and I always end up rethinking that philosophy. I was saying this yesterday. I expect there's a very specific pattern to how blood drips down fingers that I should probably look up, but I'm too lazy to do that. But I am forever telling my students to reference everything they're not sure about. I mean, to be fair, I don't think it looks particularly terrible, right? I think it's not. The guesswork here isn't super bad, but yeah. God knows, eh? Right. So let's do a little bit of paint over. So that'll be this layer over the top. God, I hate it when you have to sample this tiny, tiny little strip of colour here. There we go. So, just going to correct for drawing. You know, up here. So as I've been putting off doing very much with the blood here. So I'll see what I can do to make the bloody parts of the mesh look a little bit more Interesting. So I'm going to get a brush with a little bit more texture. So I've been using this one so far. Big streak 2. Although that's been mostly for the other parts, like you see here, the white stuff. So I wonder if it's like a little bit too sort of noisy for you know, a reflection, which you kind of want to be nice and clean. But best way to work it out is just to try it and see how things go. Trying to add more reflections in to see if I can make it feel a little bit more shiny. See how that works out. You know, I try not to be a slave to the 3D that's underneath. Because I think, you know, the whole point of this is to combine workflows and end up with something that combines the advantages of both media. I mean, honestly, I think that's just concept art these days. You know, I mean, 3D is so useful just to like push certain things. You know, it's not so much a shortcut. I think in the hands of a good artist, it's something that can just really take your art beyond what it was. Like the stuff you can do with perspective is so much more complicated with, you know, a good knowledge of Blender and 3D. But I think, you know, the idea is to take any piece of artwork using this workflow beyond what it would be just as a 2D piece or a 3D piece. I keep forgetting how useful it is actually to have the Twitch screen open. So it's like it functions as a little small preview that lets me keep an overall view on what's happening. It's again really important because I think with this approach you can get very like bogged down in little details. And if you're not careful, that will just... It does mean that you end up just working on things that end up not doing very much to help the picture. Yeah. Always got to zoom out. Was my old director. He didn't say it so much to me because I don't think I suffered from the problem as much as another guy in the concept art department. He was, yeah, you know, the hovering art director. Our art director always used to hover. Used to walk up behind him and just stand there without this guy noticing. And then just out of the blue, he would go zoom V out. Go zoom the F out. I'm guessing because if you make someone jump when you say something, it sticks in their mind. Maybe that's what he was intending. Maybe he was just like really power hungry. And he liked the idea that he could make the artists in the art department shake with fear. But yeah. See the extra little details we add there helped a little bit with the form. I think we're seeing more knuckles. I think overall that's working. But yeah, let's move on. So you've got some dodgy modelling here, which is kind of a little bit easy to correct afterwards. You know, I don't know. I don't think modelling fingers in ZBrush is the most fun thing to do. But I'm sure some people like it. Oh. Okay. So one of the things I'm trying to do is just push like little color accents where I can. It's like I can see a little bit here where the saturation's going up a bit. So I just want to kind of respond to that and see what happens if I just add a little like hit of red there. And what that kind of does to it, you know. I think that's a nice way to add life to a painting. You know, those little things are quite hard to sort of add specifically where you want them in 3D, right? So, you know, just a little bit there. And then you zoom out, it kind of just all goes in. It all just blends into one. But then it kind of it's kind of like a nice little moment there. I think probably going to do a little bit more of that here, right? You can see where that, you know, it just naturally goes a little bit more saturated. I'm probably gonna punch that out there. You can see on the inside of his eye socket here, that'd be a great place to put like a little bit more of that sort of shocking red. You know, you can drop in these nice little color accents. You know, but you can really make the color sort of sing, right? It's true to say lots of pieces fail because of too much color. So the way to get around that is just to like put in these little jewels of color everywhere, and that can work really nicely. So you see we've got the blues down here, and we've got little hits of red, the yellow. Oh, we've actually got we've got a primary color scheme here. We've got all 3 primaries in varying amounts here. Cool. So I think I'm kind of happy with how the blood is looking here. I've just had to commit to, I have to tidy that up. So I'll commit to that in a second. But yeah, I've not really worked on this part, on the teeth too much. So I'm just going to zoom in on that and refine that. So what I'm looking to do here is kind of separate out the teeth. I kind of want him to look really toothy. And some of these teeth are looking a little bit sort of blocky, right? Your incisors are quite sharp. So those are the teeth at the front. They've got a sharper shape than the ones at the back. So I'm going to try and just make it look like I thought about that. Oh, thank you. Oh, you're very kind. Honestly, it's nice to be able to show the works in progress and see what's like connecting with you guys. Because sometimes you don't know. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and you know, sometimes it's really hard to know what's gonna connect with your audience. You know, sometimes you have a piece that you hate, or like you feel like you haven't quite nailed it, and then everyone's like, no, that's all right. And then also the opposite happens. You think you have a piece that you think is like amazing, and then you post it, and like it's like crickets, you know. And sometimes that's the algorithm, right? You know, sometimes it's not your fault, it's not the art's fault, but yeah, sometimes for whatever reason, you know, something that you think is going to connect doesn't really connect with in the way that you think it should, or that you expected it to. And I think that's just art, isn't it? You've got to do, you've just got to keep doing it regardless, you know. I think, yeah, over time I've just learned not to try not to expect how people are going to respond to a certain thing, because I'm terrible at predicting it. But sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, honestly, it is hard. Sometimes you think, oh, okay, this piece, I think I've nailed it, right? And yeah, again, for whatever reason, you know, it doesn't just it doesn't resonate in the way that you expect it to. But yeah, it's nice, even like with the work in progresses, you know, to be able to show it to you guys and kind of, you know, be able to see as it's been made, like what you guys think. Yeah, it's a really nice, I think. I was going to say side effect of streaming, but honestly, I think it's kind of what streaming is. You know, you're just showing the production of it, right? Like I said, I don't know why, but I was sort of hit by a jolt of inspiration earlier today. And it was based off some of the things that are happening with this piece. I think I said when I opened it up, there are some like artistic ideas here that I want to explore. So if you do like this piece, do stay tuned, because I think I'm not done with this kind of look yet. I think I kind of want to do like a little bit of a series. I think I've got at least 2 ideas I kind of want to make kind of in this vein with the same sort of style. Yeah, stay tuned if you like how this is going. But yeah, I'm going to definitely do some more. But yeah, it was really bizarre. I mean, I have just been reading a book about inspiration, and so as soon as I got hit by it, I was like, okay, you've got to go home and sketch that. So it's in my sketchbook, because this book is called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and it is if you know Eat, Pray, Love, which was made into a movie with Julia Roberts. It's the writer of that book. But yeah, she describes inspiration as these ideas that are sort of flying around, and when they inspire you, you've got to grab a hold of it and do something with it. Otherwise, it just keeps on flying, and it just goes away, and it goes on its merry way, and maybe it lands in someone. It finds another artist, and that artist does something with it, right? So if you want to do something with that idea, you've got to grab it, you've got to seize it, and not lose it, right? Like I think there's something quite nice in that. Like, I think inspiration is very fleeting. And like, if you're not able to respond to it, I think it's just like a person, right? It's like, if you're not going to acknowledge me, I'm going to find someone who will, and it will fly off into the sky and find another artist who will do something with it, who is willing to take that idea and realize it, make it something. So I was like, okay, you have to go home and note that down and make an intention, make a note of that intention to make something out of it. Got to be nice to your ideas when you get inspired. Yes, I think that's true. I think, yeah, horror is definitely a very divisive genre, for sure. I've had lots of people just look at my work and go, which isn't really the reaction, I guess, you want when you make a piece of art. But I guess sometimes it is. The amount of people who I've talked to said the Annihilation Bear terrified them. I think that's great. I kind of love that one of my designs has just scared the shit out of so many people. I actually get a lot of pleasure out of that. I think it's great. So yeah. But no, I agree. I don't think it's for everyone. But then, and I think this is true for all creators. I mean, you get some creators who are more commercial than others, but I don't think you should cater to everyone, right? Trying to cater to everyone is catering to no one, and it's not being true to yourself, and it's not doing what you really want to do. So, Thanks, man. I think this came up in the stream the other day. It's like when you work for film or when you work for a big studio, you kind of have to hide yourself. You know, they don't let you like advertise what you've worked on. And so I feel like I have to hide. I had to hide for the longest time that I'd worked on it, you know, even. But now it's like, oh God, I can't like keep it quiet because I need work. Right, I've gotten so much work and like attention off of it that like it's like, you know, now it's almost like thank God I was able to be a part of that project, because if I hadn't done it, I don't know where I'd be now. You know, it's one of those things. You know, you look back and it's like, you know, your life could have gone in a very different direction had you not had that opportunity to work on that project. So, you know, honestly, I just feel very lucky to have been able to be a part of it. I say this to many people, like working with Alex Garland, he's literally like the ideal client. You know, you get so many egos in film. I think it's sort of an open secret, right? Like you get a lot of, you know, it's funny, like you know, I like to think that's the case. Yeah, I like to think that's the case, but I don't know, to be honest. I've had lots of times where, you know, I haven't wanted to make art. You know, it's really just not been the time. I don't know. I think that's true of everyone. You know, you look back on your life and it's like, oh my God, you know, things could have gone so many different ways at so many different points. It's fascinating. Sometimes I think it's best not to think about it too much, right? You know, like I got my job initial like break in VFX off like a chance meeting, and I chose to study something at uni based on a chance conversation. And I just feel like, oh my God, if that hadn't happened, like, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have gone and studied like art at university and done what I've done. So I don't know, it's, yeah. Cool. Anyway, thank you all for coming along. Thanks to Focus Freak 8256 on YouTube. Thank you, Pat, for turning up, and for your thoughts. It's always great to have comments in the chat. You know, just to understand where you guys are at. If you're not following yet, make sure you follow. Do check out the schedule next week because, yeah, there are loads and loads of amazing streamers on throughout the week, like Pat, like Mr. Pat Imrie. And also, yeah, and go follow BR3D as well. There we are. But yeah, yeah, hope you enjoyed. And I am here next week, but I am here on a Wednesday evening because this time next week I will be socializing. We do have to remember to do that once in a while. So, oh, no problem, Focus Freak. I'm super glad you enjoyed it. I mean, so turn up next Wednesday if you can. Follow me on my personal channel if you like. And yeah, I will be back on a Friday in 2 weeks, but next week I'll be on a Wednesday. But otherwise, yeah, it's been amazing, guys. Thanks so much for attending. I think we've got new followers as well. I'm sorry. It's because I've not set up my OBS properly. Don't tell Heather or Pat, other Pat. But yeah, thank you if you subscribed or followed. if you followed during the session. That's amazing. And yeah, been a pleasure, guys. See you next time. And we might be working on something like this. We might be doing more sketching, but whatever we do, it will be awesome. I can guarantee, kind of. Have a great weekend. And I don't think anyone's streamed over the weekend. No, so that's the streaming done for this week, as far as I know. Don't quote me on that. There might be something on Sunday. But otherwise, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to anyone who's in the UK. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Laters. Oh, whoops, wrong ending screen. It was all going so well. I was so proud of my outro. Anyway, as I said, see you all next time.